morals and scruples.
Yeah.
They're the two main integral things that people of that influence and power have got to have in the lock-off
Especially
if
the
they're going to
member
be
of Parliament.
representing constituents.
I'm conflicted with it, Phil, I really am, but I'm going to keep pushing it because they just want me to shut up and it'll go away. You know, how can this go away, Phil? The evidence is there, you know what I mean? It's not as if there's no evidence here and I'm making it up and I'm just making an accusation. If I was lying, he'd have me up for libel, wouldn't he?
Thank you for jumping on the channel. This is Red Pill Phil. I'm here with Billy Howarth of PAG UK. How are you doing, Billy?
Very well, Phil, thank you.
Nice one, mate. It's always a pleasure to be in your company. Thank you for inviting me.
No, you're always welcome, man. Mate.
We've been talking about a particular subject now for a good couple of months, but it was a question of you couldn't really release the intel that you had because you didn't have the full package.
No.
Now, what I'm talking about is a series of documents that really come into your possession, which show that there was a meeting taking place in regards to abuse with Cyril Smith in terms of Knollview School.
Correct.
Now, we're going to name a couple of characters that was at that meeting, but then a couple of characters have gone on to have an illustrious political career, but they've not disclosed or never have admitted that they was at that meeting. Is that correct to say that, Billy?
Completely denied that meeting ever existed.
Apparently, there are people denying interviews took place in relation to the sexual assaults on young people at Knollview School. And I attended an interview with Tony Lloyd, then Commissioner for Greater Manchester Police, who has gone on to be an MP for Rochdale, just like Cyril Smith. Current at that meeting was Colin Lambert, at that time leader of Rochdale Council, and there was the youngest person who made the first complaint against being sexually assaulted by Cyril Smith at Knollview School.
Let's get to the initial people that we're talking about. There's two individuals that are categorically, whether they're denying it or not, but they're not even bringing the point up that they were there.
They're not even acknowledging the questions been asked.
Right, okay. So the people we're talking about is Tony Lloyd. Now let me do a little bit of a breakdown of Tony Lloyd, because this has got to be broke down properly for people external of Rochdale to understand the mechanisms with all this in it, really. MP for Rochdale since 2017. Between 1983 and 2012 he was the MP for Stretford, which is a region in Greater Manchester. Formerly Greater Manchester Police and Crime Commissioner between 2012 and 2017. The next person is a Colin Lambert. He's been a servant of Rochdale Council from 2010 to 2014. He was a qualified teacher from the late 70s. He's been in the Labour Party, so it says, since the mid-70s, and he's now officially joined the Brexit Party. He's the other member that was in this meeting that has said very little since 2013. Now, the reason why this is relevant, Billy, and why you've been screaming from the rooftops, is because when did Dixon do the inquiry?
2018.
That's 5 years between that meeting.
Of course.
You've got a police crime commissioner and you've got a politician, a councillor. Both of them have got a key bit of evidence there.
Bear in mind, when the meeting took place, Colin Lambert was leader of Rochdale Council.
Right, okay.
So he was
So
the
there
leader
you
of
go.
the council.
And can we please remember, Phil, that this could be anybody's children. It could be yours, it could be mine, it could be anybody else's in Rochdale, and they would still be denied any kind of justice. That is not consistent with that which we vote for in terms of electing an MP or supporting a leader of the council.
Now, Martin Deegan's going to feature in this video because I have now got audios from Martin to actually verify exactly what you're saying. Not only that, through the grace of God, Martin has still been able to have them documents that's provided to you to prove this all along.
What Martin did is when it first broke then, in the 90s, Martin sporadically sent a lot of documents on a journey for the day we needed them. He didn't know what was going to happen, you know, so it was just a masterstroke, which is, we're back to Autumn now, isn't it?
Well, without a doubt. They
thought these were buried, but what they didn't realise is we had some good people to dig them all up. So.
Yeah. And it is clear as mud. They were both in this meeting.
Bang to rise.
This meeting is talking about one of the first people to come and speak out in regards to what's going on with Cyril Smith at Northview School. Am I right in?
That's correct.
So this is quite a significant bit of information here.
I mean, there was lads that spoke out before but been ignored, hadn't they? You know,
right.
Because the police knew and the social services knew and the council knew.
Yeah.
So some of them lads must have spoke out before then. And I know for a fact that some of the lads have been speaking about it for years but being told to shut up, you know what I mean? So.
Well, same again, their testimony, let's say, has not been included in the Ixon inquiry in many cases, hasn't it?
But there will be, and their account will be heard. Yeah.
In order to carry this video through, Billy, we've had to get some kind of denial from at least one of the parties concerned that they were never at that meeting. Am I right?
For me, when I got them minutes, and all that I wanted to do is I wanted to ask the 3 questions. That was it. And then we'd know for sure, 100% know by his answer, whether it was or it wasn't. Do you know what I mean? So. Question number 1 was, as Police and Crime Commissioner, what involvement did you have in the Northview investigation and its cover-up? Northview and Cambridge House investigation and its cover-up. As Member of Parliament for Rochdale, what involvement did you have in the Northview investigation and its cover-up? Question number 3 was, why didn't you give evidence to ICSA whilst because of retirement Police and Crime Commissioner? Because I thought, he was Police and Crime Commissioner for a large stint of this where the cover-up supposed to have took place. Why didn't he go? Not even a statement, because I've read over the last 2 weeks, that's all I've done. I've read it back to front and there was nothing whatsoever from Tony Lloyd in that document.
So he wasn't included in the ICSA in
No,
any way?
I don't even know if they knew his name.
This gets you thinking. You've got a police crime commissioner.
Then MP as well.
If he's been in this meeting, why has ICSA, when they were doing the rounds in Rochdale, not approached someone of significance like that, who would then tell them that the intel that he had, ideally, this meeting that had taken place?
Because when that meeting finished, that's the last it was spoken about. It was buried.
That is the best way of putting it. It's literally buried, isn't it?
It was buried.
Why was it not included?
That meeting did take place. I was present with Tony Lloyd and with Colin Lambert. Colin Lambert was leader of the council. Tony Lloyd at that time was commissioner for police. The young man present was the first one to admit and to come clean about the fact that he had been sexually assaulted by Cyril Smith. And it's come to the fore whereby Tony Lloyd appears now to be denying this meeting ever took place, to be denying that he ever made any promises in relation to rearranging the facts and bringing out the truth, as did Colin Lambert promised to do, which he didn't do. Colin Lambert lied. Tony Lloyd is now attempting to say that this meeting did not take place. This meeting did take place. I was at this meeting. I have the minutes for this meeting. You now have the minutes for this meeting. How dare he, as an MP, a member of Parliament, tell lies?
Because this is only the concerns that everyone else is going to assume.
Of course,
from this. We don't want to make conspiracy theories out of this. That's why we've sat on this for a good month, would you say?
It's sitting on it, Phil, you know that.
Yeah.
You know, I've been down to tell people about this for weeks because I've seen the evidence is there. You guys will see the evidence because it's going to be available to all, isn't it? You know
They were both at that meeting. I don't get it. Because ICSA, surely when coming to Rochdale, the first people they would approach would be key, integral people.
You won't find anyone who ICSA for me I thought was the holy grail for Rochdale, because they'd been ignored and ignored. There was the grooming scandal that was ignored, and then ICSA came, and I thought, yeah, you're gonna sweat now. These guys are gonna. And then I watched the Richard Farnell inquiry bit, you know, and I thought, we've got them. They can't get away with it, and here we are today. But what I've realised now, working in the field and helping other survivors from Royal View, is the amount of lads that haven't been spoken to by ICSA, who went to Royal View, who haven't, and I've now managed to narrow it down that 90% of the people who spoke to ICSA were Cyril's victims. They cherry picked Cyril's victims, not the other lads who had a lot to tell about what happened to them, and it was ignored.
So why do you think that was, Billy?
Because of the people who were doing it.
Do you think their agenda for
They're not dead.
the acquirer, right? So it's better picking on someone that is easy prey, can't fight for himself, even though he's as guilty as fuck.
Yeah.
But they wasn't prepared to spread the net so living people still may be in the field. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Example, Richard Farnell in his testimony. I didn't know nothing about it. My deputy, Mary Moffat, never said no. Let's ask Mary Moffat. No, we can't. She's deceased.
So it's an easy get out.
Easy get
So
out.
then, what you're saying is ICSA was nothing but an appeasement then?
I mean, like I say, I'm the first person to push ICSA, to people, ask people to go to ICSA, speak to ICSA, but when I had the full information of this, the very first person I contacted was ICSA. The very first place this went, before I did a live, before I went to the police.
When was that, Billy, just to make it, roughly speaking, because it was after the email, wasn't it? Was it after the email you contacted ICSA?
About day after.
Right.
Day after Linda's email, because she was the first to get the email.
Okay.
When Linda sent me the email, I emailed ICSA to say, look.
Did you address it to anyone in particular at
No,
ICSA?
just to the inquiry.
Right.
I told them about it being evidence.
Yeah.
I even pointed out where it contradicted the report.
Yeah.
And I got one back saying the findings of the Rochdale report are done. There'll be no more no evidence. Accepted kind of thing. Different word, a bit posher.
Yeah.
But I'll posher the email. That's not.
But just they're not prepared to take it on board now.
We don't want it, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I thought that's probably saying that to me because they don't see me as any involvement with ICSA, and they know if I did get anything, I'd disclose it to everybody. So here's what else I did. I got an old youth survivor to send a message to ICSA, and they did the same to me.
People like that, we really do not need in power. We need rid of people like that, and we need to replace them with genuine articles.
So what's this inquiry for then?
Lip service, isn't it? You know.
Does it actually want to get anywhere?
There's been 0 convictions in Rochdale, which we know of.
I was going to say to you, Billy, how many convictions do you think there should be? But I don't think that's the question. What is the definite answer? There should have been convictions, and there should have been a multitude of convictions, and should have been a multitude of people losing their jobs.
Now we know what's taken place from here to here. The people who were involved in the cover-up should be convicted too. You know what I mean?
They're complicit.
Complicit, it's perverting the course of justice without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean, let's get back on point here. Tony Lloyd and Colin Lambert was at this meeting.
In 2013. Yeah.
That evidence has never been disclosed to ICSA. ICSA never approached them.
No, Colin Lambert sent a statement to ICSA. In his statement to the ICSA, he mentions Martin Deegan. He mentions meeting with Martin Deegan and Jim Dobbin. So that's a verification of a meeting, but that was in 2015. You'd have to double check that because it's in there, it's in the inquiry.
Sure.
But not one mention of this meeting with Martin Deegan and Tony Lloyd. It was just omitted from record, like he didn't exist. Why? And we know through the minutes of the meeting, which we have, everything was disclosed.
Let's move on to another part as well. That we've got another document that you were showing that was marked irrelevant.
Okay, I was right to every dot, in my mind's eye. So, Ashworth Junior block involved in Smith Street toilets, and then on the page behind,
irrelevant.
Now, me and Linda was discussing this. We don't know if X has done that.
Whether they've marked it irrelevant. Right, okay.
But then I queried with Linda, well, if you look at the writing around the box, there'll be writing inside that box as well, I think. You know what I mean? But they seem to have ripped round the box off.
Well, what we do know is someone has deemed that information irrelevant.
Yeah.
And someone has written about that information, about the abuse that was going on in the toilets.
Yeah.
It's to be kept quiet.
July 1992, 21st of July 1992, and the lady addressed in the letter at the time who appeared in front of the inquiry is Diane Kavanagh.
Okay.
She was Director of Education.
Right.
So.
Have you had any dealings with this lady? Do you know of her?
I know of her, yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of stories about her which were in the inquiry as well, where she was head of the department, she was in the black box. I've had a lady tell me who worked there, she used to see it all. Because her window was right there, you know what I mean? And the other thing what we know about them all taking bets on who were next, do you know what I mean? Sure. That happened, that was true, that's a true story, you know, it was in the report. Social services staff were overseeing the toilets from the black box building which looked down on the toilets, and was all stood there laughing and joking, saying which one of these young boys are next, and taking money bets on that. But yeah, these social workers should have been down the stairs, across the road, and safeguarding these young boys.
So where are these people coming from? Are they just there for the money? Are they there for the loyal respect of, in this case, Labour Party supporters? It's wrong. It can't be allowed to continue, and it shouldn't have happened in the first place. And these people now need to stand up and be honest about the fact that they are not fit for purpose. They are not fit for the job that they do.
We spoke about this before. Do you reckon a lot of the attitude is that these boys were rent boys who were doing it of their own accord, committing consensual acts?
Of course, yeah.
It's like the perception that people outside
Yeah.
will want to look at it and how to see it, but in reality, they're being groomed, they're being exploited. But because he's maybe of a certain age, they might then tend to think, well, he's getting money for it. He seems to want to go and do the act. They don't seem to be dragged in the toilets. I'm not mitigating for any of it, mate.
The proof lies in the pudding, Phil. Ashworth Junior block, these was 11, 12-year-old boys.
So it says it all. But any age, it's exploitation still.
Well, of course it is.
Because we're talking...
There's no such thing as a rent a boy or a prostitute or a child prostitute. There's just child abuse.
How old were the men, would you say?
The men up to 60, 70.
This is it. So, you know, we're talking boys, aren't we? Boys to men, literally. What is it from this video that you want, Billy?
I want people to know what he's done. What he's done is illegal. What he's done is immoral. And he's going to get possibly 5 more years run at Rochdale. People need to know. Now, I won't lie, I've been to every mainstream media. Not one of them will touch it because of Purdah.
Now, you want to explain what Purdah is, mate?
Purdah is not, I'm not saying I 100% understand it, but I think it's where media or politicians can't, well, we said not supposed to be able to attack an opposing, but we were just saying that from Tony Lloyd, haven't we? We all attacking Boris Johnson, so maybe, but they won't touch it.
But this is the same people that said they'd film your opening to the PAG UK hub and didn't do it, they backed out.
Yeah.
So there's an element of cowardice, I think, to a degree, and people's hands that maybe genuinely within ITV want to help you. Their hands are tied.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said he was going to try and help, but you know, his hands are tied. And so a lot of the media, his hands are tied. Mine's not, though. You know, I'm free.
And one way or the other, even if they don't think they're playing a role in it all, by their actions, they're actually playing a role in it all, carrying on this vicious cycle that's going round.
The fact is, these people are getting away in relation to public service with making false promises. False promises do not buy bargains. They do not service the community. All they do is service themselves, service their families, service their mortgages, service their bills. They do not do the rest of us as a community any good.
He called Tony Lloyd out for his performance
Okay.
over sexual exploitation in Greater Manchester.
Right.
Dan publicly called him out, Simon
Right.
Danchup, the former MP.
What year was this? Can you remember?
He doesn't say the year in his letter.
Right, okay.
He just says he publicly called him out.
And what, did he get any kickback from Tony Lloyd?
Yes, Tony Lloyd said, if you mention my name publicly again, I'll bounce you from Rochdale to Westminster myself.
Really?
And he's told that in the inquiry. That's there. I've got the paper, so I'll send you that as well.
So Danzuk said that in the inquiry?
Yeah, Danzuk.
So Danzuk had mentioned Tony Lloyd's name in the ICSA inquiry?
Yeah.
But yet, ICSA still didn't see it fit to call in Tony Lloyd to talk about it. Is this sounding a bit fucked up here? Or is this sounding a bit crazy here, Billy?
Yeah, well, I've seen the paperwork now. For years and years I've been thinking, do I look stupid? Do I look saying all this stuff, fighting all this cause? Am I actually, you know, am I a tinata? You know what I mean? Am I acting like a tinata? Do you know what I'm saying, Phil?
Yeah.
But then, and then the minute I said something to Martin, I was talking to him, and I said something about Tony Lloyd. He went, "I've got some paperwork here with Tony Lloyd." I went, "Give me it to you." You know what I mean? And when I read it, because I'd already read the report before, I already watched every minute of the ICSA inquiry, and I just knew. I cried. I sat here and I cried because I knew this is it. This is the one. They can't deny it now. And he did deny it through the email.
So let's recap then, for the people who really are trying to understand what's gone on. You've got a police crime commissioner, you've got a leader of the Rochdale Council that attended a meeting in 2013.
Correct.
Both of them have decided not to disclose that information.
Suppressed it.
ICSA has not even gone anywhere near at least one of the parties.
Yeah.
Colin Lambert has submitted some information to ICSA,
Which they refused.
which they then refused and knocked back.
I don't understand why I'm being told that this meeting didn't take place, that it never happened. This meeting did happen. You have, because I've gave them to you, the minutes of that meeting, and where Tony Lloyd's coming from in terms of the promises that he made, which was to retrospectively sort this issue out, along with Colin Lambert retrospectively sorting out this problem. Nobody's done anything except now to deny the meeting ever took place.
This video is a red dot joining kind of video.
Took us years to join these dots.
Yeah.
Years to join these dots. To know who sat and orchestrated this cover up.
Yeah.
And now we know Richard Farnell, Tony Lloyd, Jim Dobbin, who's no longer deceased, and the man, Lambert.
All playing the part in
The
it.
three amigos that are left are the ones that need to face accountability, as well as the staff and all that. But
Everyone involved.
That's a different cause. But the three responsible for No View and its cover up all these years, 60 of them, is the three men I've just named and the one who's dead. They're the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Well, without a
The
doubt.
four horsemen of the apocalypse.
The apocalypse of abuse that's taken place, you know.
They need to be held accountable, and I won't stop fighting until they are.
So people have got to try and understand this dot connecting exercise.
We show.
Well, yeah, we'll show everything to try and put it in a concise package so they can't really fail to see what has actually gone on here. What would you say to people Billy, that would say, well, this happened in the past. Like, you know.
I met Tony Lloyd, and I sat down, and the first thing I said to him is, "Hiya Tony, nice to meet you." I said, "I'm Billy and I represent Parents Against Grooming UK. I've asked to have a meeting with you because of the history of this town and its abuse. We're asking you for accountability. We're asking you for accountability for the grooming scandal that took place in this town and its failures, and we're asking for accountability from No View and its failures." He went, "Look Billy, the past is in the past." Yeah. As a survivor myself, it's the first thing I think about when I open my eyes in the morning, and it's the last thing I think about before I go to sleep. So it's never in the past for me.
No.
And I think a lot of survivors will say,
that's a kick in the teeth. For someone of such credibility to not be, even if he's not going to be man enough to be accountable, to not recognise the pain and suffering that's gone on there, that it's still attributed in people's minds, people's lives. People have been deceased. People, you know, have gone on to have all kinds of abuse and be abusers, you could actually say. There's been a nasty chain that's come from this abuse.
Suicides, alcohol, drugs.
How many families have been broken? How many relationships have been tarnished? You know, things are never going to be the same. So for him to disregard it in that way says a lot about where their mentality is at, why it seems fit to just bury this meeting.
Do you know if he hadn't said that to me that day, I wouldn't have even considered him a part of this No View thing. I wouldn't have even gone, and I haven't done for a lot of years. I've not even bought. The only thing I've got at Tony Lloyd for is over the grooming. Never really tackled him on No View, but linked. You know, linked.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, he's been responsible. Not just for.
He's played his part.
Not just for the grooming scandal, where it's PCC, but for the cover up and No View as well.
Not disclosing, mate. He's got to be accountable for that. How, when you're police crime commissioner and you've now an MP for Rochdale, are you still sat on that knowledge, knowing that survivor come to you hoping you were going to do something?
Then the worst mortal sin of all, he lied to survivors, because some of the people who emailed him, because mine was blocked, I emailed him and mine bounced back, it was blocked. I only got an answer on Twitter. Everyone else had to email him for me the questions, and he answered everybody with a copy and paste the same questions. So you've got there on what I've sent you 3 or 4 different versions of his answer to different people, but the same answer. He lied to them. Some of them were survivors, and he lied to them.
Fobbing them off, mate.
Just he lied to survivors after everything they've been through and every fucking thing they've done to them and the boys and the families. They still have the gall to lie, and then on top of that say, "Will you vote for me to stand in Rochdale?"
Billy, let's say, I can't quote him because I didn't hear his direct quote, but if anything, if it's to believe what you said, it's all in the past, Billy. That's the mantra, is it not?
He thought it was. This one should be game, set and match with Tony Lloyd and Colin Lambert. I'm expecting the Brexit Party to drop Colin Lambert over the next few days.
You know,
the Labour Party can't do it with Lloyd because he's a front bencher and he'll have more clout than them at the NEC.
They need to be made accountable for what's going on, Billy.
This is Corbyne's Labour rights, isn't it? You know what I mean? Wow.
Who knows what's going on?
What I've seen over the last 10 years of these lot, I voted Labour till Tony Lloyd was elected.
The inner workings of politics, mate. Well, what I will say, Billy, this video has to be shared.
Yeah, I'm going to smash it.
You know, if anyone is watching this video now, think of what has actually took place here.
This could be their child. And that might sound strong, but it's the truth. This could be their kid, who's not been dealt with properly, who's been ignored, who's been abused, and nobody is listening. And that's what's happening. Our MP is not listening.
You're going to hear from, I mean, this isn't just a backstreet politician. This guy's a front bencher for the Labour Party. He sits 4 seats away from Jeremy Corbyn to his right. He should be far a bit further on his left. Do you know what I'm saying? But we're not talking about just some local councillor. We're talking about a member of Parliament who could quite possibly this time next month
have an even more significant role.
Be the Minister for Northern Ireland.
Well, let's leave it on this, Billy. You mentioned it before. Morals and scruples.
Yeah.
And they're the two main integral things that people of that influence and power have got to have in the lock-up if they're going to be representing constituents. So let's leave it at that, Billy. Anything you want to say about what you want to tell people, Parents Against Grooming?
Farnell first, then Lloyd, then Lambert. Who's next?